I welcome all the participants here in this session, week 10, session 4. So in the last session, we have discussed about this deprivation trap. So from here onwards, I'll take the topic further, that how this deprivation trap could be, could be resolved and could be solved. So the very good answer of this, entering into the community through some, participatory approach. So to actually enter into this vicious circle of the deprivation trap. So actually participated rule. So for that technique, which is known as the PRA, PLA technique, that is participatory rural appraisal, participatory learning action, is as a kind of the tool which has been used in the research as well as the interventional aspect, which actually promotes the people's participation. And overall, the philosophy is bottom-up approach. So this PRA technique is label given to growing family of participatory approaches and methods to emphasize the local knowledges and then enable local people to participate and make their own decisions and appraisal, analysis and plans overall for the any kind of the programs. So PRA uses group animation, a lot of the tools and exercises which actually contributed to the research work as well as the implementation, which is more participatory in nature. So participatory rural appraisal is an approach used usually by non-governmental organizations, so much and other agencies involved in any developmental aspects, be it international agency or governmental agency. So definitely a non-governmental organization, whoever involved in the development and they're working for the community. So they always use this participated rural appraisal. It became so, you could say that famous in the field of the development. So the approach actually aims to incorporate the knowledge of and opinions of the rural people or the people for whom you are working, whether it is in slums or in the rural areas, in the planning and management of development projects and programs. So let's discuss in detail what is actually PRA and PLA. So PRA stands for Participatory Rural Appraisal and PLA stands for Participatory Learning and Action, right? So participatory here means that people are involved in the process. That is what the participation here means. So it's a bottom-up approach that requires the good communication skills and attitudes of project staff. So you need a good attitudes, you have that kind of capabilities and capacity to take the people's participation into the overall programs and project and then research. So the involvement of the significant numbers of the persons in the situation or action, which enhance the well-being. So maximum the number of the people would participate, the result would be better, and it also in turn gives the wellness to those participant community members. So it's enhance their well-being, their income, security, self-esteem, so in any ways, in whatever reasons they are involved into and whatever programs they are involved into, depending upon that. So giving more attentions to the decentralized development. So PRA is more concerned about the decentralized development, recognition of the need to understand and use local approaches to development, not that you have to go any kind of the solutions and then pre-assume notion of regarding the problems and all. So this is what that you have to understand the problem from the community, with the community, and you have to develop the programs many a time with the community and for the community definitely, and then intervene and go with the approaches which has been developed by the community itself, right? So, and here rural means the technique can be used in any situation, urban, rural, with both literate and illiterate people. Here rural, it only signifies the, you could say, the space where you are going to work, the geographical area. If you take as a PLA, so PLA again here is about participatory, involves engagement and collaboration, the same meaning. Appraisal is what? The finding out of the information about problems, needs and potential in villages. It is the first stage in any project. So that is what the appraisal. Learning is through the community. So the process of gaining knowledge and skills and understanding, so that is what is about. An action refers to the practical step, initiatives taken to bring about change. So that is what the PLA, so participatory, and then learning with the community, and developing the knowledge and skills, and then action that refers to the practical steps or initiatives that has to be taken for any kind of the changes or for the program. So that is what the PLA. So usually both the terms are interchangeable between the PRA and PLA, that is Participatory Rural Appraisal and then Participatory Learning and Action. So PLA and PRA is philosophical, which emphasize the need for outsiders to learn about situation from insiders. So you are outsider and you have to learn from the insiders, that are the community members. So this philosophy actually seeks to reserve or reverse the overall the power relation between the communities and then outsiders. It grew partly in the reaction to the top-down planning methodology in the 1960s and 70s. So its major concern is about the bottom-up approach, and it actually it's reversed the overall role. So you are there to learn from the insiders, and that is, those insiders are the community members. So overall, the participatory rural appraisal, participatory learning and actions are called are the family approaches. So they are combinedly considered to be the family approach. Methods and behaviors that actually facilitate local in experience, actually in expressing their experiences, identifying their own problem, and assisting them in the developing solution and then problem. So you have to assist them in identifying the solutions for the problem which they have already been identified through some any PRA PLA tools. Origin of participatory rural appraisal. Let's first talk about some of the historical aspects of the PRA PLA technique. From there, this all emerged. So the roots of the PRA techniques can be traced to the 5 streams which stand out as sources and parallel to the PRA. I mean, these are like activist participatory research, agro-ecosystem analysis, applied anthropology, field research on farming, and the rapid rural appraisal. So they are also parallelly developed, and it's not like that first is who. So they are somehow parallelly developed, but a little differences in the years and chronologically they are been, but overall that all been developed during the 1970s or 80s and then to the late to the 1990s. So of these all 5, Robert Chambers is considered to be the pioneer and main propounder of this whole idea of the PRA PLA technique. So he also argues that approach owes much to the Freirean theme that poor and exploited people should be enabled and analyze their own reality. And this Freirean approach goes to the activist participatory research. We will discuss in detail. First is about activist participatory research. So this activist participatory research in this sense owes much to the work and inspiration by Paul Ferreira that we have already discussed in the last session. So in his book, which is written is a pedagogy of the oppressed in the year 1968, and the practice and experience of conscientization in Latin America later on. His ideas and thinking of the conscientization on the critical analysis by the community member has been actually became so became so famous, and a lot of the different associations and organizations, they have used that, and getting into this idea of bottom-up approach and then conscientization. In the late 1960s and 70s, Catholics in the Latin America realized the situation of the poor and marginalized people. The people were politically suppressed and economically destitute, socially marginalized. So the churches of Latin America, they actually involves in changes of material life of people as well. So they have asked to the people to come forward and to participate in their own life changing aspects. So the contribution of these activities, Paul Ferreira, anti-British movements of the Canada, and then Latin America's idea of again the churches, that how they have involved the poor to bring changes in their own life. So these all movements they actually give birth to the idea of the PRA PLA technique later on. So the term activist participatory research is used to refer to the family of approaches and methods which use dialogues and participatory research to enhance people's awareness and confidence and to empower their actions. So the contribution of the activist participatory research streams in PRA have more through concept these methods. So they are like that poor people are creative and capable. So this is what the activist participatory approach assumptions and belief So activist participatory approach, I have already mentioned the Paulo Freire ideology of conscientization, then how the different organizations have followed that, like the this Catholics in Latin America, and then antagonist movement in the Canada. So they have followed this all, and then the final sum up of, we could say, of this activist participatory research, there are a lot of activism has been has been happened in this time. So the gist of this all activism was that poor people are the creative and capable, and can and should do much of their own investigation, analysis and planning. And this gives a lot of hope to the researcher and to the activist and to everyone who are involved into the developmental sector, so that poor are capable enough and they have all the and they should be participated and given their own right to investigate and analyze their, and even to participate in the planning process. Second belief is that outsiders have roles as conveners, are catalyst and facilitator, right? So as a researcher, as an activist or a social worker, you have to be act as like a facilitator, catalyst and then conveners, not within, because you have to, whatever in the research or the implementation, you have to facilitate them. Means once you have to engage them with any kind of the tools of PRA PLA technique, you can ask them, okay भैया, okay अब आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हो, अच्छा आप ये वाले बताना चाह रहे हो कि यहाँ से आते हैं. So these kind of the push you have to given to the community members. So that is what, as a facilitator, you can given some kind of the resources as well to prepare some kinds of the tools and techniques and to investigate into the problem and then planning. So that is what you have to act like a catalyst, facilitator, convener. So that ways, right? So there are some kind of the limitation in your role, but this is what the obvious, but actually hidden there you have a lot analytical skills required, your observational skills have been required in this whole PRA PLA technique. So that the weak and marginalized can and should be empowered. So third belief system is that weak and marginalized should be given the chance and they should be empowered, means that is their rights to be empowered. So that is also the Robert Chamber has says and actually analyzed that once we will go with the bottom up approach, given all the making the community members an important stakeholder in the development, so the things became and changed and they became more empowered. Right. So the overall this activist participatory approach gives lot to the development of overall PRA PLA technique in the modern days. Next participation and next important milestone in the development of PRA PLA technique, it goes to the agro ecosystem analysis. It was the late 1970s, a group of researchers in the Thailand introduced visualization and the use of simple local materials for resources analysis. So they used actually, they converted the whole research things from general, paperwork to the visualization, to visualize the things like that. Once you have to develop the mapping or chapati diagram, so through just visualization you can get the idea of the problems, issues for whatever the tools you actually used for. So, and also through using some kind of the local materials, this whole research has to be done through the local materials. So, local people activity participated in the analysis of, farming systems. Checklist opposed to questionnaire methods were used and developed. So, here it's against the general kind of the questionnaire methods, which is very, rigid kind. These methods of participatory gives more flexibility and more chances of or giving more spaces to the local and then insiders to participate with more confidence, and maybe sometimes the very hidden things has been come out which has not been the part of your rigid questionnaire. So the period for study and an amount of cost involved was also low in this PRA and RRA and PLA techniques. So that's why it's became more famous. So the experiences led to the use of PRA tools and techniques for the rural participatory analysis and planning purpose has been enhanced and increased. So what is this agro ecosystem? As I've told you that it was a group of researchers in Thailand that actually have started this idea. So Conway 1985 was developed in Thailand from 1978 onwards, initially at the University of Chiang Mai by Gordon Conway and his colleagues. So, and then it spread first through the Southeast Asia and then elsewhere in the world, drawing on systems. So please do understand that it's talking about the system approach, drawing on systems and ecological thinking, that how the things has interrelated and interdependent to each other. It combined analysis of the system and system properties, so that how the system as a community is been influenced by been dependent on the whole dynamics of the communities depend upon the system's properties. That could be the productivity, stability, sustainability, equalability, and with pattern analysis of means one thing is about the community dynamics, that is about in a system it is taken as two important aspects. One is the in the system, one is they have taken as the system properties, and then system properties is what is about. System properties is about is the community dynamics. So that is about the productivity, stability, sustainability, equalability, social capital, and so on and so forth, and its relationship with the pattern and with the space, that how you can develop that through the different sets of tools to analyze the overall interaction between these all system properties to overall system. So the relationship between system properties to system, you can get it through some kinds of the pattern analysis. The pattern analysis means how these system properties are interacting to each other, and they actually give birth to a different set of the dynamics and issues and concerns, or maybe the positivity into the community, right? So the relationship between system and system materials can be get through the through some kind of analysis, and those analysis can be done through mapping or the transect walk, that is to get to know about the space of that area. Then it's about the time is about seasonal calendars and long-term trends. So these are the some tools under bracket which has been mentioned. One can get to know about the different time or chronology of the any community. So through seasonal calendar, how the community members has been engaged in different time of the year and different months of the year, and even a daily chart has also been there. So in every day how they have been involved into different kind of the activities. Flows and relationship, here it's about the different Venn diagram, other diagrams, causal diagram, flow chart has been developed to get to know about the flow and relationship between the different elements of the community. Relative values, bar diagram of relative sources of income could also be done. So that is that you can get through the these different tools. You get what relative values of the different system, and then system material of the community or the system properties of the community. Then decision trees and other decision diagrams could be developed on the basis of above these. So this decision could be based on the pattern analysis of the community and its capital, and then community properties. So the approach was further developed by Conway and other with the Aga Khan Rural Support Program in Pakistan for application in villages in northern Pakistan. So as the idea has been developed in definitely earlier in the Thailand, and then later on in elsewhere in the whole world, and started from the Asia. So in the Pakistan, this Conway and Aga Khan Rural Support Program of Pakistan for application in village in northern Pakistan, where it looked form which led to the identification and assessment of practical hypothesis for action. Agro-ecosystem analysis was so powerful that it quickly overlapped with and contributed to the much RRA. So, or the PRA. So, some of the major contribution of agro-ecosystem to the current RRA, that is rapid rural appraisal, and then PRA have been like transect walk is the first. These are the some methods and tools which has been developed after the agro-ecosystem analysis. It's about the transect walk. Through the transect walk, later on in the next session, we are, on next to next section, we are going to discuss about the different tools in very much detail, so that you could, get equipped with and then skillful enough to use those tools into the practical way. So transect walk, that is the systematic walks and observation. Here right now, we are not going into so much detail of this. So these are the some kind of the, tools and techniques which has been contributed by agro-ecosystem into the PRA-PLA technique. Informal mapping, sketch maps drawn on the site, then diagramming, seasonal calendar flow, causal diagrams, bar charts, Venn and chapati diagram. So these were also been done by the agro-ecosystem analysis. Then innovation assessment, scoring and ranking different actions. So scoring and ranking or maybe on the economic terms or the land's value. So this all been done in the involvement assessment, innovation assessment. So these are the some major contribution by the agro ecosystem analysis to the PRA PLA technique. Moving ahead, next is the applied anthropological surveys. So anthropological is a study societies from their own perspective. They use knowledge and experiences on the basis of analysis. So so before, I just have to miss one thing. The agro-ecosystem analysis mainly is about to analysis of the agricultural field, and then analysis of the perception and then activities of the farmers in the field, how the farmers could, actually understand their own issues and concerns, and then how they can, develop their own ways to overcome those problems and issues. It's about the overall agro-ecosystem analysis. Next is applied anthropological survey. So anthropological is study societies from their own perspective. They use local knowledge and experiences at the basis of analysis. So anthropology is the study of human history and human or the mankind, how they have been evolved. So anthropologists stay in the community for the longer period of the time and closely observe overall social interaction, and then record behaviors and then roles and how the community dynamics and community has been evolved from simple to complex. So this is what the anthropologists actually do. So conducts open and free discussions on values and experiences with a group of people who are knowledgeable. It's become easier for the anthropologists to get into so deeper insight, or get they get more and more information, so that they could not get through some very traditional mode of researches. So through experiences and appreciation to the richness and then validity of rural knowledge was developed. Some of the main insights and contribution coming from and shared with some anthropologists have been the idea of field learning as flexible art rather than rigid science. As I've already told, that anthropologists, after because they stayed in some certain communities, so by using the PRA PLA technique, so it's became more useful for them, and then it's about more flexible art rather than very rigid as in the traditional methodology of research. The value of field residence and hurried participant observation and conversation. So it's also a suggestion has been coming out after the experience of the anthropologist in the community, that value of field residence. Participatory observation in actual sense, it happened when you've been there and you are not in hurry. Participant observation you have to done. So investing time or giving some time or stay with them. So this gives you a lot of the idea, or actually it gives out the new dimensions of the community, a new dimension of the certain issues which you cannot get it in general. The insider-outsider distinction. So that is what, there should be some inside and outside distinction, that you should not become the master of all the information of that community. Rather, you have to learn from the community. The insiders are more aware, keeping in mind this is very important. The validity of indigenous technical knowledge. So once the community, you are working with the community, and then community is coming out with their own informations through different tools and techniques. Maybe it could be, if you want to know about the community's history and evolution, so the timeline, and then within the timeline, the seasonality diagram, and then daily chart, and always it's whatever the information you will get, it is more validate. That is, validity is high once you do it with the community and through the community members. So this is what the applied anthropological surveys contribution to the PRA PLA techniques. Next is farming system research, that is called FSR. So this farming system research systematized methods for investigation, understanding, and prescribing for farming system complexities. But sometimes there's, it is always been involved with some kind of traditional surveys, so it became somehow is boring. But farming system research is actually given the idea of systematize the methods or investigation which is for some complex reasons. So farming system research method which contributed to PRA expansion research work with people considered their problems of diversity of the environment. They used holistic interactive approach for farming system analysis and development. They involved farmers in on-farm research, So it's about to get to know about the issues and concerns of the farmers and then different agricultural farming things. So here the very important aspect, it's considered to be very holistic and interactive approach here. As a farming system research talks about the PRA as a more holistic and interactive approach. So they involve farmers in on farm research, so at their own working area. Investigated farmers' decision-making criteria for adapting new introduction, means to analyze why and how the particular things and mode of agriculture has been adopted by the farmers. Then link developmental efforts to real felt problems of the people and work within the capacity of farmers and their resource endowment. So link development efforts to real felt problem. So whatever the efforts you are actually you wish to with for the farmers and for the rural areas. So these are actually you can use those you can identify the real felt problems, and then you relate it with the developmental things. So developmental approach and developmental goal will be more successful in that way. Many researchers showed through widely influenced videos how capable farmers, women and men could be in conducting their own trials, assessments and analysis. In the later 1980s and early 1990s, it has been increasingly recognized that farmers should and could play much more greater part in the agricultural research, used many classical techniques of extensive survey and field experimentation. So like farming system can be seen to have contributed to especially in the to the appreciation and understanding of complexity, diversity and risk proneness of many farming systems. So through this the complex nature and the diverse nature and risk propensity of any farming system could be identified. The through farming system, that is participatory approach, the knowledge professionalism of small and poor farmers could be identified there, and then their and rationality experimental mindset and behavior, how they are experimental enough, and how they, I mean rationally they are experimental, how they have knowledgeable experimental the issues of the even the small farmers who are actually working in the field can get to know, their ability to conduct their own analysis. So this is what the farmers is having the ability to conduct their own analysis. So these are the some very positive ideas that supports the overall development of participatory rural appraisal, because it says that the rural people or the farmers, they are much aware about their own issues and concerns, and they are very professionalized into their own activities, and they are so experimental in doing so. So to identify that why some kind of the activities has been taken by them, and what are the benefits of that, what are the loopholes would come. So through all this farming system research, it is more for the developmental sectors and for the organizations which is working for the agricultural farming and who are working for the farmers issues. So these are the some of the methods which are very helpful in getting involved the community members and then make it more beneficial for them. Next is about and the last one is about the rapid rural appraisal. So the philosophy, approaches and methods known as rapid rural appraisal began to emerge in the late 1970s. Workshops held at the Institute of Developmental Studies at the University of Sussex and Rural Development Tourism 1977. Indigenous technical knowledge, this another area of research, and RRA itself in the 1978-79 were only some among the parallel moves in different parts of the world in search of the better ways for outsiders to learn about their life and then conditions. So earlier also the farming system research, applied anthropological surveys, agro-ecosystem analysis, activity participatory research, that all happen in a different part of the world. So the to giving the more and more tools and techniques for make the RRA and then PRA more successful. So earlier the RRA, later on it has been converted into the PRA. So this, as per the Robert Chambers, RRA is what? Is a family of approaches and methods to enable rural people to present, share and analyze their knowledge of life and conditions and plan to act. So to getting the information regarding their problems and issues through the community member, and to develop the plan and acts not by you but by the insiders, that is the community members. So moving ahead, So by the early 1980s, there was a growing dissatisfaction among development experts with both the reductionism of formal surveys and the biases of typical field visits. So this is another important events that has been happened. There is the general researchers, they actually feel that the traditional methods are more biased, and they're not getting into so much detail of informations. So by 1993, Robert Chambers, a fellow at the Institute of Developmental Studies, UK, used the term RRA, that is the Rapid Rural Appraisal, that we have already mentioned, to describe the techniques that could bring about a reversal of learning. So learning from the members, not that you are going just to get some questions, that pre-developed questions, rather it's all flexible, that you have to learn from the members of the community, from the insiders. So it's about the reversal of learning. 2 years just after that, after 93, that is about 95, 96, the first international conference to share experiences to RRA was held in Thailand. This was followed by a rapid growth in the development method that involved rural people. I have already told you that for the development of any fields, so the practical and then a good seminar and conferences pave the way for the development of any field. So this conference held in the Thailand on the different experiences or different tools of the RRA actually paved the way, and it was actually resulted into the rapid growth of the development of this methods, that is the RRA, in examining their own problems, setting their own goals, and then monitoring their own achievements. So these are these three objectives of the RRA, it has become so famous. But in the early 1980s, RRA was argued to cost effective, especially for gaining timely information. So it is considered to be, by 1980s, it became a truth that RRA is more cost effective, and it's actually you get the information very timely. So need not to collect the whole data, doing all the surveys and coming back, and then doing the analysis also. It takes a lot of the time. But in the PRA, PLA technique, once you go in the community, if you want to take some very initial information without developing any questionnaire and then analysis, you do everything in the community itself. So that is what the gaining timely information from this with the help of the RRA technique. Now the overall the journey from RRA to PRA. So by the mid 1990s, the term RRA has been replaced by a number of other methods or terms like PRA and then PLA. So both what is the similarities and what are the differences and what are the similarities? Let's talk about. Both are a system of collecting and analyzing information about rural life in order to improve decisions. Both consist of an approach and a set of techniques. The approach are different, the techniques are almost the same. RRA, and what are the similarities? So RRA helps the outsider to have a better, these are differences. RRA helps the outsider to have a better, more sympathetic understanding of rural life, thus improving his or her decision. Whereas PRA empowers the local community to analyze its situation and to improve its decision. PRA is a close relative to the RRA. But that's for sure. PRA and RRA are so close to each other. There's a minor difference into both. So just have a more understanding of both, difference between both. RRA is learning rapidly and directly from the villagers. Project staff learn and obtain information, take it away and analyze it. It is extractive, means extraction of the information is gathered and used according to the needs of the project staff. Whereas PRA is learning with villagers. So RRA is learning rapidly and directly from villagers. PRA is with the villagers. Facilitate local capacity to analyze, plan and make decisions, take action, resolve conflicts, monitors and evaluate according to the need of the villagers. So overall the assessment of the things has been happened within the community and with the community, whereas in the RRA, extraction of the knowledge and then use it according to the demands of and the needs of the projects and program. RRA is an extractive research methodology consisting of systematic semi-structured activities conducted on-site by multidisciplinary team with the aim of quickly and efficiently acquiring new information about rural life and rural resources. Whereas PRA is a growing combination of approaches and methods that enable rural people to share, enhance and analyze their knowledge of life and conditions, to plan and act, to the monitor and evaluate by the community. So everything has been done by the community. So the role of the outsider is that of catalyst, facilitator of a process within a community which is prepared to alter the situation. So this is all about the difference between RRA and PRA. Let's have a look on the difference between the PRA. Thank you so much. This is all about today's session. I hope you understand the basic knowledge, basic concept of PRA and then how it has been evolved.